What's up, and welcome to Nighttime at the Nerd Bar, coming to you with some major Monday energy. But you know what? We are happy to be here with you, and we're happy to be here together. But damn, man, it's one of those Mondays, y'all. Woo!
Oh my God.
We are
Yeah, what
honest with
episode
you.
are we on? 43?
Yes, 43. I was like, wait, what, the show? That? Oh, yeah. But
No.
yes, we'll be talking about Overwatch. We'll talk about Overlord, episode 9 and 10. We also have some One Piece news, some other anime news, and some recommendations of things you should be checking out. But let's get into some intros, which also we're live. That if you're watching this live, join us in the live chat. And if you're watching later, no worries, comment down below. Yeah. I'm Carrie Lane, and I'm joined over here by...
And I'm Katie Cullen.
Yeah.
On this hella Monday.
Oh, man.
It is extremely Monday. It is such Monday, you guys.
Yes.
It is
we got
such Monday.
Giga Derek in the chat. You know what, John Knight?
Thank you.
Are. It's that kind of a Monday. But you know what? We're here. We're happy you're here. Giga Derek, howdy. Hello.
Giga Derek gets the reference, which I appreciate.
Yes.
Yeah.
Get the shirt. Yay!
Yep.
All right. So let's get right into it of things we are excited about. We got Crunchyroll and Toei Animation announcing the theatrical release dates for One Piece Red film, which is opening in November. Woo!
This is so dang exciting.
Yes.
It's just, I delivered that in the biggest monotone ever, but like, this is exciting, you guys. I just have no energy. But yeah, no, we've talked about this on this show before, and how good this movie looks to be, and how fantastic the Steve Aoki concert was that's sponsored by this movie. So it's finally coming to theaters. Like, yes, sign me up.
Yes. So the film will be opening up November 3rd in Australia and New Zealand, and on November 4th in the US and Canada, following a release in October 13th for Austria and Germany. So I like these spots around the world. Very exciting. So yeah, just check that out early November. Make sure to always check a local listing, your theater near you, to see where you can go see that if you're able to and comfortable to go to theaters. Which, yay, support anime and movie theaters when you can.
Yes.
It's awesome.
As your spooky season winds down, treat yourself to some One Piece.
So the tickets will be the movie will be presented. There we go. Subtitled and dubbed in theaters. And for more information, go to onepiece-filmred.com. Again, that's One Piece, as in the word One Piece, like the show and the movies, -filmred.com. And so, yay. And then, also, which I'm like, wait, here it is. Ahead of the film's theatrical opening, Crunchyroll and Toei Animation will host a separate subtitle and dub premiere of the film in Australia and the United States. So stay tuned. There might be those kind of fan screenings. Fun way to go see that in advance.
Yeah.
It's going to be part of, and also Australia. So all you folks down under, lucky, because you get to experience the subtitle premiere at part of Crunchyroll Expo Australia.
Yes.
Friday, 16th. So that's awesome. So for you, go to crunchyrollexpo.com.au, which if we have some viewers from Australia, please let us know. That's so cool.
Yeah.
Let us know where you're from things. So yes, exciting. So check that out for more info.
So enjoy that, because y'all get to see it before us then.
Yes.
Have a good time.
And then, yes, Katie has some other exciting stuff.
Sliding in with video game news from Konami, Bomberman and Contra are getting brand new vinyl LP soundtrack releases. They are partnering with Ship to Shore Phone Co., a New York independent record label, to release vinyl LP soundtracks of Bomberman and Contra. And we're talking like OG Bomberman and OG Contra. NES games, the fun stuff. So look forward to those in 2023. I have a little photo. Oh my God, where did 2022 go? What is life?
Have you seen the one that's like January, February, March, and September?
Yes,
Yes.
yes. So it looks like Bomberman is going to drop first, and then Contra is going to drop a little later. So keep an eye out for those. And again, that's Konami in partnership with Ship to Shore Phone Co. If you are interested in heading to either website to take a look. And I believe this is in conjunction with Contra's 35th anniversary release celebration. So
Nice. Always love an
Contra's
anniversary
been around
celebrations.
and I believe Contra is the one that was, for one, being extremely hard, and for another, that's the one, if I'm remembering this correctly, where the Konami code would give you infinite ammo and 99 lives, or something crazy
Oh.
like that. So the Konami code, which for those of you who are not aware, if you see the string that's up, down, down, left, right, BA start, that's what's known as the Konami code. It was a cheat code in a lot of their games, and famously, I believe this was famously for Contra, it was unlimited ammo and 99 lives to help you get through infamously difficult Contra, but it would also do different things in different games, and it also does fun stuff if you type it into Google. So, yeah,
Interesting.
Google has a
I like
number
it.
of buck wild little hacks that are in there. Do a barrel roll is another one that's pretty great. But yeah, that's the Konami code. That's Contra.
Yay.
And that is the release of brand new vinyl presses for the OG Bomberman and OG Contra soundtracks next year.
Nice.
Yes. Video game music
Yes.
is so dang good, you guys.
Right. Well, I'd hope so. Like it's part of the experience too.
Oh,
so.
yeah.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
So looking.
I think that's kind of what we have for news.
That's it for that.
It's a fairly, it's like in terms
Tight
of
day.
number of announcements, it's a light day. Magnitude of announcements, pretty solid.
We'll say it again at the end, but news-wise, we won't be here next week because everything's okay though.
Yes.
So don't worry, nothing wrong. But no show next week. So then so that's the 19th. So we'll be back on the 26th.
Yes. So. At which point, so we're caught up with Overlord this week, and then in 2 weeks when we come back, we'll be caught up with Overlord again.
So that's just how it goes.
And man, I think we're going to have 1 week, depending on when things drop, because I know the new Spy Family drops on the 1st. We might have 1 week where, you know what? No, I'm going to pull open my calendar and actually look at this, because there is a right and wrong answer to this, and I'm actually going to take a look.
Says, thinking back to Bomberman by Dwayne and Brando.
Yes. So we're going to have 1 week where it looks like we are covering the last episode of Overlord and the first new episode of Spy Family. I don't
makes that transition a little easier, right?
Well, aren't we doubling down on Spy Family and My Hero because they're both dropping in October?
Stop saying things that are a lot.
True.
We'll make it work.
It'll be easier to cover. We're still covering 2 episodes. It's just one a piece of anime, as opposed to mainlining 3 at a go. It'll be doable, but it's also one of those things where it's like, well, I'm really glad I didn't push for Mob Psycho more than Overlord, because then we'd be doing 3 at a go, and that's nuts. That's too much. Yes. That's too much. Yeah.
Well, the other thing that can be a lot, but someone loves to talk about.
I love
only that it's a lot. That there's a lot that's going on, which that's totally fine.
No, it's a lot. Depending on what your team is,
that's fair.
It's a lot. I did pin it all on the Outlaws to win this tournament. I was hilariously wrong. Not as wrong as I would have been.
Though?
No. No, because I was going out on a limb on this one. This was one of those tournament results where it was, I don't want to sit here and be like, oh, it was predictable. But it's like the number 1 seeds in both region won their regional tournaments. So it's like, okay, yeah, doable. So we had of course, the Guangzhou Charge got knocked out almost immediately. But the fact that they made it to the tournament when they'd been having such a terrible season to begin with, like, holy cow, good for them. The Shanghai Dragons came in first, beating out the Seoul Dynasty 4-1. Philly was in third, and then Guangzhou bringing up the rear because they lost both of their matches. The NA side, I'd put it on the Outlaws to win, and the Outlaws, I think, made it through the first round of the top bracket and then 2 rounds of the losers bracket before being knocked out by the Toronto Defiant. And the Toronto Defiant had a hell of a run. Like, I've been talking about the Defiant, like, okay, they're a middling team. They've kind of been a middling team for years. They were very, very solid in this meta. Like, again, middle team, but doing better. And then in this tournament was hosted by the Defiant. It was in person in Toronto. All
I was
8 of
gonna say,
these
I'm like,
teams
this is the
traveled there.
Canada game, right?
Yes, this was the Canada game. Hilariously, same weekend as the Toronto International Film Festival, which I didn't realize until Instagram was showing me all sorts of crazy stuff. But yeah, so Toronto got a crazy boost from the home crowd. Like, it made a difference. Because if they weren't in Toronto, if this wasn't their home crowd, if they weren't hosting, I would not have picked Toronto to come in third. I would not have. That would not have been my guess for a third place team. I mean, if Houston wasn't going to make it to third place, my guess probably would have been Florida. But here we are, or actually, thinking about London, but here we are with Toronto Defiant coming in third, getting knocked out in the losers finals and making a hell of a run through the losers bracket, which is not an easy thing to do in a tournament. Losing to the San Francisco Shock, who Dallas has been the bane of the San Francisco Shock this stage. They've had the Dallas broke their record, ended their 17 match win streak, which put them at 17-1 for the regular season with a 20 match win streak over 2 seasons. So the Shock made the record, and then the record was broken. London's still doing better than Boston. Stay where you are. London's not a bad place to be right now.
London made it to Derek in the chat saying, but I just left Boston for London.
Stay with London. London is doing pretty dang well, all told. Like, stay with them. If it's between London and Boston, stay with London, y'all. Just do it. So there are a lot of teams I would recommend over Boston, and part of that is personal bias, and part of that is because they had a perfect stage in season 1, and it's been rough for them ever since. I can only talk so much shit as a perennial Outlaws fan, but it's not easy to be a longtime Boston fan. Anyway, Dallas has been just the bane of San Francisco for this stage. They ended San Francisco's streak. They knocked them out of the winners bracket finals into the lower bracket and then beat them again in the finals. And the sad thing was, it wasn't even close. San Francisco isn't a bad team by any stretch of the imagination. They've been a powerhouse in this game for 4 seasons. Last season wasn't quite as good for them, but they've still been pretty damn strong. So Dallas showing up and making it look like they hadn't even installed the game is absolutely buck wild. And it's kind of in line with the narrative of, well, San Francisco tends to choke in tournament settings, which is absolutely what they've been doing this season, is making it to the tournaments and then getting kicked in the face. But they had a better run against the Gladiators than they did against Dallas in previous metas. This was not pretty. And it just, we were kind of hoping for a better game. We were kind of when you go to the finals of a tournament and it's best of 4, you don't want it to be, or best of 4, best of 7, first to 4. You don't want it to be a 4-0. You just, you don't want it to be a 4-0. That's not always a fun thing to watch.
Gotcha.
But that is what happened. And, congratulations to the Shanghai Dragons for winning the APAC Summer Showdown. Congratulations to the Dallas Fuel for winning the NA Summer Showdown. It is absolutely nothing to sneeze at, and winning on LAN, playing on LAN, is difficult, especially if you're a rookie who hasn't had this experience before. So it adds a whole new dimension to the game. So it'll be interesting. But Good for them for performing. Balance. Dallas just walked in and went nuts, and it worked for them. If you want to watch any of the VOD for any of the matches, I would honestly say for both tournaments, just watch day one. Washington just showed up and went completely crazy on day one. We had some buck wild matches. We had almost all of them were game fives. Like, let's just go a little crazy. Let's go a little crazy. Let's see some wild Overwatch. Day one was a very, very exciting time. So yeah, that was our tournament this weekend. We come back in 2 weeks. So this coming weekend is a week off from League. Instead, the Contenders channel and the League channel will both be broadcasting the Contenders Summer B-Sides tournament. So this is their second tournament of the summer. Highly recommend watching. Again, Contenders is on a different patch, and they have their team names are a lot more fun than Overwatch League team names. Because Overwatch League team names kind of have to conform to the pro sport city and then mascot sort of thing. Whereas Contenders team names, we have Raspberry Racers, we have Ex Oblivione, we have Team Redbird. Again, my favorite, which I think has been disbanded for a good chunk of time, is Last Night's Leftovers. So either they've been disbanded or they're in Contenders Australia, and I just haven't watched enough. Anyway, it's been a minute since I've seen them, but that's the team name that's stuck with me. It's Last Night's Leftovers. So watch Contenders, support your tier 2. It's almost more fun to watch sometimes when you don't have one particular team that you're rooting for, and you can just sit back and go, dang, these people are doing some crazy plays. Let's go. So that's this weekend. And then we come back into regular season for, I believe this is going to be the Countdown Cup. So we'll have Countdown Cup play-ins for the next few weeks once we come back, not this weekend, but next weekend. So last weekend of September. And one of the matches on the first day is, I think, Outlaws versus Boston. So, hey! And we'll be on a different patch. Junker Queen will be adjusted. I'm sure there will be other adjustments as well. So it's going to be a little more balanced. So we might have some upsets in terms of who was good at Junker Queen meta, who wasn't. Is it more viable to play other tanks against Junker Queen now when it sure as heck isn't in the current meta we're in? Things will be different on this next patch. So it'll be interesting to see how that shapes up. I don't expect it to be a complete table flip. I don't expect things to move too terribly much, but I do expect them to even out a little for teams that could never quite get the hang of the Junker Queen meta. As I sit here and look over at the Gladiators like, hey boys, you got a plan? I love them, but this stage was not good to them. And honestly, I'm kind of hoping the plan is keep space in as the tank. I like space. I'm very biased. Anyway, so that is all the news that's fit to print in terms of League. We had a hell of a tournament. We're having another hell of a tournament. Support your tier 2, support Contenders. Watch them because it's just fun. And then we're coming back to regular League play in 2 weeks.
Nice. It's like, where's that? There we go. My notes. I was like, I was going to say my other thing too of like, didn't sleep as much as I normally would like to. And I'm like, oh, I feel so bright today. It's not a hangover. Though our show is Nighttime in the Nerd Bar, but it's one of those things where I'm like, it's really bright. I'm just gonna.
It's not a hangover. It's just
Monday hangover. It's the case of the weekend. Yes.
I need another weekend, and I'm not gonna get one. Yeah. Anyway.
You need a weekend to recover from your weekend. I
just need another weekend so I can have time to do. I played D&D twice this weekend, so like I love it, but it also takes a lot of time out of the weekend. Because that's 4 or 5 hours a day where it's like, and this is what I'm doing. It was beautiful. I think the best out of context thing we got was we have gravity at home in much the same way that one would say we have food at home. There's a Tumblr called Out of Context D&D, and it's one of the funniest damn things I've ever seen because people just submit the weird shit that gets said in their campaign. It's like, yeah, no, that sounds about right.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Oh, actually, I was going to say, speaking of D&D, there was a thing in Overlord, the Mithril armor, that I was what is that? So I was like, oh, cool. So yes, we are talking now Overlord. So if you're here for Overlord, this is the time where it's Overlord. We're only talking about episodes 9 and 10. So if you've read the light novels or anything further than this point in time,
Please don't tell us.
Yes, but let's talk about what we've seen. Oh my gosh, why do we have to go to war, y'all? Like,
what is it good for? Absolutely nothing, etc., etc.
Man.
Honestly, I cash dumped most of this first episode because of everything that happened in the second one.
There's just a lot that I was like, wait, what is going on? And I appreciate that our characters we got some people in the chat talking about current royalty and changes and things like that. But go look at the chat, guys, if you want to go.
We're not going to get into that. Yeah.
There's my note.
There are some things we'll say on this show, but we're not going to get into that one way or another.
This is from London.
That is fun.
This is it just says the Dungeon Tavern. So it was like it's a very kitschy like horror experience thing in London, but
fun.
I thought it was fun. Alrighty, so we have the let's declare war, and I was like, oh my gosh, why are we jumping into this? Though, my
carrot
goodness,
and stick, baby.
I like meeting the Lady Negredo, Albedo's older sister, no face, no skin face. And
had a very much Attack on Titan moment with that. And she's one of the ones in the quick flash that appears in the quick flashes in the opening. Like, I was kind of at the point of, who is this person with the going, okay, I'm going to pause the opening and see who it is. Like, that's what I was thinking while I was watching this episode. And then we meet her and it's like, oh, the last person from the opening is revealed.
And then I think we got her name earlier, but again, Pistonia, which is our dog lady. I thought it was so interesting and cool that they kind of were advocating for let's not kill all the people. I was like, yeah, we got some people in our base camp essentially that are like, hey, can we not? Because I thought that too. And I mean, I know I've harked upon it before. But it still just seems so nonchalant to kill so many. I understand killing some, but then it's hey, we need the survivors to let people know what happened.
I mean, but part of this is this carrot and stick protocol.
Yeah.
Part of this is the fact that for the most part, none of them really have a lot of respect for humans anymore. Even Irons is yeah, even from episode 1, he's like, normally watching, or episode 3 rather, is when things got wild. Normally watching this as a human would make me sick, but I don't feel a lot of kinship for humans anymore. So it's the show kind of going we know you love them, but they kind of are villains in this scenario. Just kind of keep that in mind. And part of it is, and this is the part where I'm honestly waiting for this way down the line to cause problems, is that as much as Ainz loves all of his Floor Guardians, all of his people, he is very much surrounded by a group of yes men who will immediately see the brilliance in everything he says and will not do constructive criticism, etc., etc. It's an error, but it turns out okay or can be explained away. So eventually, humans are the worst. We do cause some problems, but
not the worst, but we definitely have a lot of them that are
some humans are the worst, but some humans are pretty great.
Negredo said, they can make creative things and awesome things like really good biscuits.
Yeah. But I honestly think that this whole circle of yes men thing is going to be a massive problem later on down the line, because Ainz can't ask for help to shore up the things that he doesn't know. And then they'll just assume that he knows what he's doing. He can see 10,000 years into the future. He's got it all down. This blind belief in him as, again, a supreme being, when I keep bringing this back because my roommate said it and it was amazing, where it's imposter syndrome, but real. So we're still kind of at the point where, oh, it's funny. Oh, it's great to see them talking about it when Ainz isn't on screen, and you can see how they think, and it's really interesting. But there's no way it's not going to cause massive problems later on down the line. And Ainz is doing his best to mitigate that. But we see, he can't really balance what he's telling his guardians, what they're thinking, what other people are thinking and his own lack of experience. Just him tearing the bits off the feather and going, well, I'm sure future me will take care of it. And I'm like, that's the kind of thing I say when I don't want to unload the dishwasher. Is that's future Katie's problem. And then I get there and I'm like, God damn it, past Katie. So like, it's really funny to see that in an anime, but also like, oh boy, oh, putting it off for future you when it's a thing like invading a city as part of your war plan is a problem. And not being upfront with these people who are working with you and under you and believe everything you say to almost a terrifying extent is also a problem. Like, yeah, he's got a lot to balance, but he can also say, you know, I've heard some other opinions. I've had some new points of view based on this new knowledge. Like, they'll still roll with it, even if he's like, so let's change the parameters. Let's save some humans and let them do X, Y, and Z. Demiurge, tell me how that changes things. And then Demiurge, being the actual brains of most of this operation, even though he doesn't think he is, will come up with something. So, like, there's ways to do this, but it's easy for me to say that on this side of the fourth wall. So yeah, it's I'm fully expecting this to become a problem later on. Because you can balance different points of view, but you kind of need to be upfront about it. I did appreciate the you shouldn't be bringing this directly to me. You need to be talking to your supervisor first. You didn't do that. That is disrespectful. Whereas Pistonia getting a few things to say because she went through Sebas first.
Yeah, conveniently is right there. But yes.
Oh yeah, yeah. But I mean, she. And we also got early on this season, like first or second episode, they were mentioned, Pistonia and Negretto, as being under house arrest because when they were ordered to kill all the humans brought in, they saved the babies. Hence talking about, well, maybe we should put them in charge of the orphanage. So, yeah.
So I'm curious, where things will develop with them. And I agree. I really hope that Ains appreciates having someone say no. And, you know, figure out a way to make it work. But I also think he was giving, I know they're very yes people underneath him. But I think if you explained it we can't kill all of them because we need people to survive that can pass on the message what happened here. I feel he didn't give them a chance to, like, I know they have a very particular mindset and how their brains work, but I feel like he could have at least tried, or at least say it kind of like, well, this is what I was thinking. And then if he says it, you know, with confidence, they go, all right, well, you know everything.
Yeah.
But,
yeah. It's just interesting to see, like, all of the spinning plates and how well he's keeping them up.
What do you think? We had the beginning with Albedo and Ramposa the Third.
Oh my God. The best part of this was her pointing out after he was like, will killing me fix it? She's like, you never would have made this sort of suggestion when Gazef was around. So is it him being gone that hecked you up, or is it you recognizing that your kid is talented? And I'm like, the camera went to Zanuck. She's talking about Renner. Like, that's, I mean, it's entirely possible that because I don't speak Japanese, it's entirely possible there was something gendered in the language that was not in the subtitles.
That's true. I didn't notice, but
it's entirely possible that I missed some context that didn't show up in the subtitles.
But also, Albedo talks to Renner a bit more than him, so
so it's entirely possible it was just your child without specifying which one, and the camera was like, "It's Zanuck," and all of us who have been paying any attention are like it's Renner. Hey.
Then so we did get a little clarification. I know we brought this up last time where it was a little confusing with the subtitle versus dubbed of saying the theocracy and the Holy Kingdom, because those kind of
thing.
I don't think so. I think the Holy Kingdom, because on a map, the Holy Kingdom's one area and the theocracy is in a different area, because they wouldn't have gone through the theocracy to get to where else they were going. And that's why they were saying the stolen goods en route. But this time it said the Holy Kingdom, which I don't think is the same kingdom as the theocracy's kingdom. But the theocracy maybe could have multiple areas.
Because the
Yeah.
theocracy is the one that has all of the scriptures essentially attached to it. The black scripture, the white scripture, etc. And we
Yes.
get to meet the black scripture in, I think it's this episode. Next
The
episode.
next episode. Yep.
What day is
But
it?
well, I'm curious to see what more happens with that, and then how that was kind of it.
Yeah.
No, the big thing, big thing is how this episode ends. So, do you think our red one is a? I don't know if red one's the right example, but
Ava Unit 2,
yes, there we go. Thank you.
the leader of the Crimson
look.
Drop. I mean, heavily implied that it's Blue Rose's
I
uncle.
think it's a player because
No,
you don't think it's a player?
it's the person that we got later on. It's what's her name's uncle.
True. So the question is, where did he get a modern mecha suit that's from the previous game and a gun?
Same place that they got world items. Same place, because again, this goes back into the timeline theory, which you can still
But the
see
uncle could still
here.
be a player
If he's
in more
human,
ways than one.
If he's human, wow, they don't live that long.
True.
There would have been.
He wouldn't have a regular family member. So I'm curious where he got it from, because it looks like a player. You know, like
But I mean, if it's a power suit, is what Ainz called it. So it's armor that anyone could step into, in much the same way that we had Zanuck wearing Gazef's armor. It's an item that can be passed down. This is kind of where I get into the timelines and the theories, because we had 600 years ago and 200 years ago and 100 years ago, and the dragon in the theocracy that knows things about Yggdrasil, and the fact that the Black Scripture had a world item. So I think this is another one of those things that came over from Yggdrasil previously in one of these weird centennial, it seems it's like every 100 years or couple 100 years, something happens, someone shows up. I do think it's staggered out players who got stuck in Yggdrasil and were pulled in much the same way Ainz was, but for some reason they're being spread through time. So I do think it was brought in previously and it was passed down, because Ainz has only been here.
Idea. Like, it's been there for a while, because it's also been the most powerful weapon we've seen outside of Ainz's group use.
Yeah, because Ainz has been there for, I want to say, like a year at this point.
It's been exactly. Yeah, that sounds very
not extremely long. We've got a few time skips. We've got even in this episode, we got it's been a month. So
yes, that one was quick.
Yeah. So I would say roundabout,
okay,
probably a year, because he's been moving extremely quickly on these very big plans. If anyone knows the actual timeline and can give it to me without spoilers, that'd be great. I'd love to know how long he's been there.
Yeah.
I think it's been a relatively short amount of time for someone who is bent on world conquest and made a kingdom, but I seriously doubt it's been more than 2 years. I feel like the Crimson Drop, which I believe is what this adventuring group is called, has been established for longer than Drop of Red. Thank you. I feel like they've been established for longer than that. So that tells me, in much the same way that we've had other items being passed down. We had this ring that was mentioned that was passed down from the dragon to the person he was talking to Gazef. I think the suit was passed down. Don't know how long, don't know where it's been, but the fact that it's part of a known, established group of adventurers.
Yes.
That usually operates on the kingdom's northern border. So, of course, we haven't seen them very often when we've been down in Irantel and whatnot. They're all the way up in whatever the heck this other city was. They all start with E.
Nile, pretty much.
Thank you.
Also, we meet the 4 armaments, too, which they seem like a cool team that
I'm amazed they lived.
I know, only because that other person showed up, because there's no way they would have survived at all.
I do like that we got to see more of the capabilities of the Death Knights, and that we saw they're not all just sword and shield, that we had a dual wielder that seemed to have more rogue capabilities, and that for a while there it was deflecting bullets from Ava Unit 2 and the machine gun, which was wild.
It's like yeah, that was cool.
But and also saying, oh hey, they're mithril adventurers, and it's a step or two below adamantite. So even adventurers that are that strong, 4 of them together could not make a dent in a Death Knight.
Yeah.
So
And then this weapon just like obliterated them.
adamantite adventurer for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
So it's one of those things where I appreciate that they're giving us a little more knocks in the power scale, if you
Mm-hmm.
will. It's like,
Yes,
okay,
understand
every
what's
time
our
we've seen
how far along that line of abilities. Yeah.
where's the bell curve? Where do people
Yeah.
stand? Because we have so many people who are so heavy on this super powerful end of the bell curve, and we have human soldiers who are CGI and just get mowed down. It's kind of hard to find things in the middle.
A lot of
So
undead that just got mowed down too.
yeah,
It's like, nope, they don't care. Let me
yeah.
go through. Yep.
So we kind of have a better gauge for how powerful a Death Knight is, seeing
Mm-hmm.
how well it stands up to mithril adventurers, which are close to the top, and then the conversations about, well, a god can handle a Death Knight, and then an adamantite adventurer showing up with an Yggdrasil item to be able
Mm-hmm.
to easily take out a Death Knight. So we can still kind of see the gulf in power that exists at the top, but the show is giving us a few more details. It's making it a little more granular. So, can a team of mithril adventurers take down a Death Knight? No, not really. They're still above that in power. And then Ainz has just hundreds of them and can easily make them with severed heads and whatnot. So, like, this is.
Well, I'm curious about our northern, which that's pretty much the end of. I did like our heroes that we saw there. We'll see more of them probably because they're not dead yet. But yeah, the drop
I
of
could
red.
take or leave 70% of that hero group, but I really liked like the noblemen of the town.
I like
That old sailor. I liked him.
The knight and the sailor talking at the beginning was pretty cool. I like that conversation.
That was fun. Take or leave the cleric.
That was
didn't need that. Didn't need that. And that's all we're gonna say. It didn't. There were several implications there, none of which I cared for. So like,
I was. Oh wait, hold on.
But I did appreciate when there was that entire horrifying conversation that we got the reaction shot of the audience at the beginning going, no, I want to marry her. No, I want to marry her. And then after that, like really creepy conversation, we cut back to the audience and they're all just like, ugh. I'm like, no, okay, that I appreciate. That is,
I like
thank you for validating the audience.
And the co-adventurers like going, them two going, I'm liking our, where'd it go? Oh yeah, so we find out they're from the Adamite adventurers from the north, so we'll see hopefully more of them. What did you think of? So yeah, we got the Princess Renner, and then we got Prince Zanuck, and the it's our Marquise Raven.
I kind of want to talk about, because Zanuck bookends this episode, and I kind of want to talk about all of that at once. So can we punt a bit and talk about the Black Scripture?
Yes, because that's the other bit too of like, I mean, they're just kind of their chit chat was more just planning about like what is their plan and okay, you're actually acting like a king. But yes, our Black Scripture, the secret organization of the theocracy was really like, ooh, okay, what's going on here?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, that's basically their military black cells and their most powerful people. And yet everyone seems to know about them, and everyone seems to know, oh, there was one of you that you strayed from the path of heroism. Do we all remember Clementine in season 1? The player killer that Ainz hugged to death? Her? Yeah. She was that member. They mentioned way back in season 1. Oh yeah, you used to be part of the Black Script and you defected. Yes. So she was, I would imagine, their rogue. And then watching this with my roommate, because I watched these episodes both twice yesterday. She's watching it with me the second time around. She's like, he looks like Clementine, the head of the Black Scripture. Dead ringer. They could be twins. So I'm sure that they were related siblings, potentially actually twins. We don't know. But like, that's the first, everyone brings up, oh yeah, you're the Black Scripture. Oh yeah, you're the really powerful people for the theocracy. Hey, didn't one of you become super evil? Like, I love that that's what everyone knows about them. Super powerful black cell. One of you fucked up. I love it. I love it. It's
And I like them working with our blue group too. And again, now it's the black and blue.
No, Blue Rose said they weren't going to do it.
No, I meant like them having the chit chat. You know, their meeting of like, let's team up. Maybe not.
Let's team up. Yeah, I don't want to. I think the other thing we need to keep in mind is these are the people who nearly got Shaltir. That there were more members of the Black Scripture, and Shaltir killed 2 of them. And I misspoke when we talked about this on the show earlier, injured the one who tried to use the world item on her. So the Black Scripture, as we see them here, are down several members.
Yeah,
Clementine defected,
3.
2 of them died via Shaltir, and one of them is presumably still recovering.
Hmm.
So, yeah, the Black Scripture has a lot of really powerful people in it. And Shaltir still wiped out 2 of them in a frenzy and nearly got a 3rd. So again, it kind of puts like, where's the human power scale? Where's the Yggdrasil power scale? Like, they are really uneven. So things to keep in mind when we look at the Black Scripture. But yeah, they're kind of creepy and I don't like them. So
they're very creepy. Yeah.
But also,
but I'm curious about them too.
But also, given the level of Blue Rose's adventuring group, like, they would have been in way over their heads.
Yes.
So it's, and I'm curious as to what else went into this decision for her, because she was like, I'm making a decision for me, and all the rest of them went, no, you're making the decision for us, and we support you. But I wonder if part of this was knowing, okay, 2 of our members went up against Yabaldoth and were murdered horribly for it. And just, I have to wonder what the mental calculations were for her when it came to this particular proposition.
And then I'm just curious how they essentially level up too. Like, is it really they just have to do lots of experience? Because we're not really getting to see the other characters. What is the process of leveling up? How long does it take? Can you just do a few extra quests and then you've built the strength, or is like you have to pass certain milestones? Because I don't think we'll quite get into that probably.
I think it's training, it's working on things, it's proving yourself capable in the I don't know if it's called the Adventurers League is a D&D thing.
The guild.
The guild, thank you. The guild, yes.
Yeah.
It's proving yourself capable of taking higher level missions, and that is how Momon leveled up so quickly. Was just, I'll take this. Oh no, I handled this. I proved I'm capable. I'm not a copper plate. Let's go.
Yes.
So, he broke the power curve when he showed up, and on this side of the fourth wall, we know why. But I think it takes a lot longer for other adventurers to move into a different tier if they're even capable of moving beyond where they are.
Yes. Well, someone who can't get ahead anymore.
Wow, that was extremely Haunted Mansion of you. I like it. Was fucked up.
I actually,
end of this episode, oh my god, I was yelling once the credit, like, that threw me so hard. Like, it's coming, but you don't want to believe it,
Yeah, well, because it's one of those that, like, I'll be honest, I didn't like our Prince Zanuck much at the beginning. I felt he was kind of a creeper and kind of like a, gross. But this discussion he has with Ains, I was like, all right, no, I respect him trying. He had the courage to go talk to this person that most people just literally tremble in his presence, and like really tried to work for his people. He even went to battle and he's like, I'm not ready. I am not the person who should be in battle. He's more of the strategist, but he still did it. So I really respected that he did that, and then have him just be murdered like that. And I like that Ains said, either. Like, oh really? He was not happy about that, because Ains he doesn't seem to respect humans that much, but he respects a brilliant mind. I think he likes and appreciates someone who's intelligent. And so this human proved to be intelligent, and then his people are like, nope. And
I think we go back to Clementine. Because his whole bit with her was, oh, I don't care that you killed these humans. I was just using them too. It would be hypocritical of me. And then when he kills her, he goes, by the way, I'm a huge hypocrite. So there is still some part of him that goes, no, I like that human. That one's a keeper. That's a keeper. And then the whole, I will kill you as gently as I can. It's like, we've established in Nazarick that death is a gift, and that the
Oh, which
more
we hear that here.
I know it's such a fucked up way to look at it, but like a clean, quick death
Yeah.
is considered respectful and a gift. So it's like, yes, I
Yep.
will wind up killing you, but I will do it with the respect due to you. Look at the way he handled the duel with Gazef.
Yep.
Respected all of his wishes when he did not have to.
Do you think
You
he
know,
could
so
bring
there's
Zanuck back? I don't think he's going to,
he's
but
not gonna, but he
yeah,
could.
he could.
But we also need to look at Zanuck and Zanuck throughout this season. Because for the first 3 seasons, us seeing Zanuck, it was, well, I don't even know if we saw Zanuck in season 1. I think it was just
I
2
don't
and
think
3.
so. Yeah.
He was very much the second son, power hungry, called his sister a monster. You know, he was just
Yep.
kind of a power hungry asshole. And then the war happened, the crown prince disappeared, and he had to step up. And I appreciate that all this season, we've seen him step up. It went from, well, how can I get the crown to, oh, things are actually really bad. We're down a head warrior. My dad's not okay. I need to be on top of this. I am the crown prince now. I need to worry about my kingdom and do what's best for them.
Mm-hmm.
And it was honestly great. And I didn't realize it until this episode. I was like, it's been great seeing him actually step up and act like a king. Like, there's still parts of him that are like, oh my God, come on, dude. But
Yep.
you can see that shift and that responsibility when it goes from, well, I don't really have any responsibility. I'm the second son. I'm going to scheme and do what I can. And now it's like, okay, schemes are over. Brother's dead. Dad's not okay. No head warrior. It's on me now.
And he's
And
not the head warrior either.
and he rises to the
Or he
occasion.
is.
Like, we don't usually see people that act like him for so long actually rise to the occasion when they're called upon. And he does. And that's such an incredible thing to see for a character like this, where even the character design tells you you're not really supposed to like this guy. You know, it's that there's some shorthand at play there that's not exactly okay in terms of what shorthand is used for, but it's meant to convey certain things to the audience. And for the first 2 seasons, it's like, all right, you've conveyed it. Can we stop calling his sister a monster? And now we're looking at season 3 where it's like, no, she's crazy. She's a problem. And also, you've stepped up and probably would make a fairly solid king. And we see this knowing that they plan to raise this kingdom to the ground, that they plan to murder everyone to make an example of them, that the Marquis de Raven has betrayed them. It's like, well, what if they kidnapped his son? And I'm like, you told them they should kidnap his son, didn't you? You know that's what happened because you suggested it. It's one of those like, oh boy. So again, just sitting back and watching Renner work is a masterclass in horror. She's great. I'm terrified.
Well, then, I'm terrified for those other guys, which I don't care because they betrayed the. Yes. The Neuronists. And I was like, oh shit. And Calcutus and Mare are in charge now.
Yes. I feel like, I'm going to look it up because I meant to do this beforehand. I feel like we've seen Neuronist before.
I feel we probably have too, of like.
Oh, yep. We have totally seen him.
I was like.
So remember in season 3.
Thing?
Yes, with kind of like the tentacles and the my creator suffered from kidney stones. So we're going to start with this, and to respect that, they sent him to the chief. Nine sent them to the chief torturer.
Yeah.
Because I want to talk a little more about this conversation they had and the way both of them walked away from it. Because both of them were approaching it as, okay, what can I learn? What does this person have, etc.
Yes.
And both of them walking away like, Ian's going, so that's what real royalty is like. And getting like a candid conversation from the other side, from someone who essentially knew that they were going to die, asking for him to explain himself, and him kind of having to grapple with, what do I want? There's what my followers think I want, and there's what I actually want, and there's this weird balance. Like, what do I want that I can actually say in this moment and coming down with happiness for my people? And Zanuck walking away from it with, he really does know what he wants. Was I ever fit to be royalty? I just wanted to make the kingdom respectable. He actually really cares about those under him. So both of them being very affected by this conversation. And you look at this and you go, this could have been an incredible alliance. Like,
Yeah.
Zanuck would have.
Unfortunate that.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Let's be real.
Crash and
In a
burn.
slightly more ideal world, Zanuck would be the one with the vassal state where he's got an alliance with him, and the Emperor would be the one where he's just steamrolling him.
Yeah.
That just in terms of what we've seen of the inner workings of both kingdoms. And I know we were introduced to this kingdom first, and it's like, oh, well, you're kind of biased for them, you know them more, etc.
Mm-hmm.
But just watching how this conversation went down and knowing both sides from the other side of the fourth wall and going, God damn, this is so interesting. It's such an interesting meeting of minds.
Yep.
And both of them walking away affected by it, only to have it immediately soured by this whole ass murder. And I mean, on the one hand, Zanuck didn't say, I did try to surrender. He has continually refused to accept it, and he has explained why. Like, that wasn't there. But also, they wouldn't have taken that for an answer anyway.
No.
These are desperate, desperate men doing a desperate, desperate thing to try to survive.
Yep.
And given that it was just presenting him the head, and this is the second time on screen that we've seen Ainz presented with a head. And the first time it was, oh, well, it'd be a shame to let it go to waste. Immediately makes a death knight out of it. And this time it was that musical sting and then just closing the bag and handing it to Albedo and saying, bury him with respect.
And also asked about the armor.
Yeah. Like, it's such a big difference. Because we have those two scenes that we can juxtapose now. Like, how does Ainz handle a corpse? How does he handle, like, when this is presented to him as a political favor of so, because both of them were very much, it's a political favor. We're trying to smooth this over. So having we'll give you a reward equal to your efforts, and then only kill them if they beg for death, but don't kill them too quickly.
It's like,
and then, and just all of the wind has gone out of his sails. Like, this would have been fun and interesting. We could have done all sorts of stuff, but no, they went and they murdered the guy that I just had a great conversation with. He was a royal. He was an actual royal. And they murdered him like some guy in the streets. What an ignominious death for someone I respected. I've lost interest. This isn't fun. Cocytus, you're in charge. Mare, you're with him. Just take them all out. I give you full permission to use your powers. Kill them all.
I kind of want to see them go all out, which we're not going to see that. But I'm like, ooh, can we see the Floor Guardians like actually go all out with their powers? I mean, we've seen little bits here and there, but I really would want to see like, all right, let's crack knuckles. Be like, all right, I'm going.
The three things that we've had in the opening that we have not seen yet is Ainz versus whoever is in that dragon's armor. We don't know who that is yet. Albedo versus Ava Unit 02. Drop of red, but the brain will only ever call it Ava Unit 02. And Cocytus versus Brain. And honestly, the bit where I'm like, you best not harm my boy is the Cocytus versus Brain bit. I'm like, I don't think Brain's going to be walking away from that one. But also, like, one fear, he is armed with the sword that Ainz said could hurt him. So, like, who knows? But the opening has a habit of showing us everything that's going to happen, if only in bits and pieces of foreshadowing. So those are the three things we can look forward to over the next 3 episodes. This second episode, like, this first episode was like, okay, this is happening. And this second episode really hit me because for some reason, I did not think that Zanuck would die.
I didn't think he would die that quick and just be like, oh, shit. Okay.
Yeah, like that was. I know that we hit the senselessness of death a lot, or the randomness of death, I should say. Death comes very easily in this world. So usually it's, oh, half the people you see in the opening, there's a 50-50 chance that if they're not a Nazarick person, they could die. So, like,
But,
weigh your options.
Yep.
Well, Xanax in the opening.
Mm,
I just was not expecting a recurring character to so soon. And I thought they were
yes.
going to give us a little more respite after they did that to Gazef in season 3, but no, no one is safe. It's so wild. This show
Oh,
is
don't
so
stop it.
well crafted that I had emotions and an oh shit reaction over Xanax, who last season I would have been like, oh, he's dead?
No, but that
Oh
shows a good show
no!
that you care about somebody that you originally were like, no, I don't care. Now it's like, I care.
Yes!
Yes.
They developed him so well over the course of a season, and it was a season that made a point of showing all sorts of other stuff.
Yes.
But in the bits that we did see him step up as a prince and the leader of a country. And then now we're going to step back and see Dad, who has outlived both of his sons and his treasured head warrior. Like he may be resting now, but he's technically still the king. Like, oh well, yikes, fucking yikes. So yeah,
well, something. What?
this kingdom is in shambles, and I'm
Yes.
curious as to how much of a Queen of the Ashes Renner wants to be. You know, or if she does at all.
Well, I am kind of excited that we are doing a little break because then it's always nice to talk about two because it's hard with just one that you're like, what happens next? So,
and then that last
it
week
for
is
now.
going to be the Overlord season finale and the first episode of the second part of season 1 of Spy Family. So it's like,
it's gonna be fun.
so let's have some tonal dissonance, shall we? Let's have some whiplash. It'll be great.
Yes. I had someone ask, "Is Overlord good?" I'm like, "Yes."
Did someone in chat say that, or did someone?
No,
just
I had a family member of like, "What are you watching on Crunchyroll?" And I'm like, "Well, I'm watching Overlord. Is it good?" And I'm like, "Yes?" Question mark. And they're like, "Question mark?" I'm like, "Well, there's a lot of weird stuff." And they're like, "Yeah, it's pretty typical of anime." I'm like, "This is true," but there's just some other stuff about this show that I'm like, it may not be for everybody, but it's still really interesting.
I mean, to be fair, it's good depending on what you're into. Is true of all anime.
Oh yeah.
Anime is a medium, not a genre. So
it's true. Which, speaking of that, let's recommend some other stuff you should be checking out. Because yeah, Overlord. Reminder: we will not be here next week. We'll be the next, so we get to cover two at once. So, movies wise, so I forget. I don't know if I had mentioned it in advance before, but I might not have. But a new Bollywood movie that's come to theaters. So a different tone, but in a way, I feel a lot of people here might enjoy it. It's called Brahmastra, Part 1, Shiva, and it is visually, I can totally understand where people would think like Marvel-ish stuff, Avatar-ish stuff, but there's a lot more going on, but just pretty much like super cool effects. Like they look really good. Essentially kind of superpowers, but I don't want to tell you too much because kind of the less you know, the better. Action and romance, and it's just like kind of epic storytelling, and I feel you could have never watched a Bollywood movie and you'll still enjoy it. Actually a lot of humor, the songs were good, and then also I have it on my Instagram, which I did think I mentioned this. I talked to the lead actor, so go watch that because it's for American audiences. It's pretty much like I got to talk to Jennifer Lawrence and like Ryan Gosling, like level of famous. So I was like, damn, I got to talk to them. So go watch that. That's on my Instagram, which we'll get to that at the end of this, but I do recommend the movie. It was very fun, and like I've watched a lot of Bollywood, but this one was like, yeah, that was very entertaining. Like it's a good go to the movies and have a good time movie. But it is part 1 in a 3-part series, so just know that it does end, but there'll be more. So,
yes. It's like it has a good ending for the part, but it's not the ending of the story.
Exactly. Which some people. I feel part 1's in the title, but I still feel some people might be like, and you're like, come on now. But yeah. Katie, what about you?
Oh my God, I've just been doing all the same old stuff. We're kind of back in the area of rereading things I've already read, putting the same episodes of things I enjoy up. It's all
right, give me one.
It's that kind of thing. I mean, let's be real. I've talked about 10-minute Power Hour more than once, and I've talked about Discworld more than once. And kind of where I am as I lead into the middle of the month.
That's fine.
I just had one that, oh yeah. You know what you guys should all watch before its next season drops? Mob Psycho 100. So
We've
I've
talked
chatted a
about
little
that
bit.
one too.
We have talked about it. I don't know if I've done a full, I think I've talked about it a little bit when the press releases for the new season is coming have happened, but I don't think I've done a full on stuff you should check out. And let's be real, this is a show that I'm due for a rewatch. I don't think I'll get it done before season 3 drops because it is 2 seasons so far, but I haven't leaned into that yet because Mob Psycho has made me cry on more than one occasion. It's very, very good. I did not think I would ever cry over this show about a con man with a heart of gold and his honest to God psychic high school protege. But like, damn, y'all, this show is so good. It is about Mob, the psychic high school protege, has hella powerful psychic powers, kind of tries to keep it under wraps because, like, you know, his family knows. His mom's a little frustrated that he keeps bending spoons. His little brother's kind of like, that's really cool, but also my older brother's kind of a nerd, but also I really love him. Like, you know, it's a fun brother dynamic, and Mob is he's not really emotionally open. He kind of he has this girl he's interested in, but he's having trouble talking to her, and he's like this kind of wimpy kid, so he joins this club that'll help him get more physically fit, but he's bad at it. Like, he's trying so hard with all these high school experiences, but also he's hella psychic, and he's not the only one in the world who is. Our other protagonist is Reigen Arataka, who is this fast-talking con man who bills himself as a psychic and really super isn't. So he really isn't. So he gets called in for like exorcisms and things like that. It's like, oh, a ghost has possessed me and it's making me all tense. Oh, well, you know, let me do this big exorcist. And it's basically a shoulder massage, but he's really selling it. Or, oh, this ghost appeared in my photos. It's so scary. Oh, well, let me take care of them. And he just like photoshops the ghost out. Here's your brand new purified photo. You know, it's that sort of thing.
That just hurts.
You would think someone like that would be a complete jerk. And there are parts where it's like, dude. But there is something so fundamentally good about this character. He's kind of the right kind of jerk. And also when there's an actual ghost that shows up, he essentially calls Mob and goes, can you come? Great, thanks. And sells it as, well, this one's beneath me, so my apprentice is going to take care of it. But he really does care about Mob. It's not a convenience thing. It is an actual, I do care about this child. And I think one of the things that threw me about the first season, because, you know, it's a shonen anime, you eventually wind up with superpowered fights, as you do.
Of course. Yeah.
And there's one point where there's a psychic adult going after Mob, and Reigen kind of stops him and goes, you're an adult, he's a kid, can we not do this? Just like, hey, maybe you shouldn't be fighting a child. Like, I have never seen anyone in a superpowered shonen fight anime actually point that out. And so this is that kind of show where it's the same creator as One Punch Man. So same art style, same creator, same, you know, kind of sense of humor. So he's very, very good at, this is funny. We've got some crazy stuff going on. There's some buck wild stuff that happens, some really good jokes. And then he can turn it on its head and go, and you're crying over this now because I've made you care about all of these people, and now things are happening and you really super care about it. So yeah, I'm due for a rewatch. I haven't yet because I know there's going to be points in this show where I'm just sitting on my couch sobbing. But it is not in a bad way, you know? It's a very, very good show. The dub is solid. The sub is solid. Like, they are both equally good. And I think it's Studio Bones who does the animation. I could be wrong about that, but the animation is amazing. My God, when the Sakuga hits. And the thing is, the Sakuga doesn't always hit during the superpowered fights. Sometimes it hits during one of Reigen's con man spiels. And it's just, this animation studio loves Reigen, and it's perfect. So yes, highly, highly recommend Mob Psycho 100. If you can mainline 2 seasons in preparation for the season 3 premiere in October, great. Watch it along with me. It'll be fantastic. We will all laugh and cheer and cry together. And this show is a goddamn work of art. Highly recommend it. Everyone should watch it.
Got Giga Derek in the chat saying, I like to recommend Letterkenny and a good night's sleep. That's a good recommendation. And Letterkenny, I haven't watched it yet, but I'm familiar with it. So very Canada humor.
Yeah.
Canada. Yes. Well, thank you, everybody who is joining us. And bump the mouse on the wrong button there. And I was like, wait, no, that's fine. Yes. So thank you very much for joining us on Nighttime at the Nerd Bar, episode 43, which is crazy. Not crazy. It's awesome and amazing. And yes, we're so happy that you're here. But if you watch this later, again, no worries. Thanks for the live chat people, but also later, comment down below your thoughts on the stuff we've talked about. Yes. And Katie, where can people find you in the meanwhile, since we are taking a break again this Monday?
Yes, you can follow me all over social medias as well as on YouTube and Twitch at Kiaxet. That is Kiaxet. On that YouTube channel recently, we have been talking about Ruby Ice Queendom, so give that a watch. I am also a co-host on Silver Screams. It is a horror-based YouTube channel that my roommate and I do together, and we've got just all sorts of fun, ridiculous stuff on there, you guys. So yes, check them both out. It is a good time.
Yes. And there we go. Y'all can find me online at Carrie D Lane. That's Karidlane. And like I said, the Brahmastra interview is on there because I did ask them what superpower they would pick. So go check it out of what they said. Maybe you had the same answer or maybe not. So I think that's really fun. That's kind of it on new stuff. I did some fun pictures over the weekend, so stay tuned. I'll post fun content of, because the content, do it for the gram.
Do it for the gram.
Yes, and I realized with this, you can't see the whole
yourself.
thing. But yes, look, make your own magic. Yes, and speaking of, go follow Katie's post because I like the just wear the crop top post because one of the pictures is crop top. So I was like, yeah, I like seeing Katie's post about that. It was fun.
Yeah.
So again, thank you.
Just wear the crop top. You don't have to have a perfect body for a crop top. I sure as fuck don't. But I have some really cute crop tops, so.
Well, because there's also no such thing as a perfect body because your own body is amazingly perfect.
Exactly. A beach body is you at the beach.
Exactly. Yes. Which it's still summer in a way, even though September, because it's so fucking hot. So
it's still stinking hot.
Cool. Yes. All right. Well, thank you again, everybody. And we'll see you next time.
2 weeks from now. Bye.